Okay, a very good morning to all of you once again, and I hope you all will be able to see my screen with Gmail logged in, right? Can anyone please confirm that so that I can proceed?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so when you log into Gmail, similar kind of page you will be getting, right? On your right top, this Google Apps option will be there, right? So go to the Google Apps. For me, I have pulled Google Classroom on the top, but for you it will be little uh, in this group where you have docs, slides, books and other things, right? Here you will be having Google Classroom, so go click on that classroom. Okay, so if you see, do not worry about this right now, which you can see on the left side. uh, Concentrate on the right side. Okay, so yeah, good morning, Shweta. So here if you see, there is a button, join a class or create a class. Okay, when I click on a join a class, it will ask for a class code. Now this class code is given into your uh, WhatsApp group. In WhatsApp group, if you see, admin have mentioned a class code in yesterday's message, that is AB3DGYL. I will show you here in the classroom also. And this is the code. Okay, so you have to join this class. Let me see how many people are there. Still, I have only 11 people in this class. So what will happen when you will join this? Then only you will be able to see the videos and other files which we will be sharing. So this is the LMS for us actually. Okay. So I see the number of students are increasing here. Fine. Now let me tell you that how classwork and other things you will be able to see here, how you will be able to see assignments, right? And if you do not want to miss any update from this classroom, you have a uh, Android and iOS application also for Google Classroom. Okay, so you can download that. You have to log in with your same Gmail ID which you used to join this one. Okay, so once you join this class, that will automatically reflect in your application also. And go into that application, switch on all the notifications. Okay, so what will happen with that? Whenever I upload any assignment or any video here, right, you will be getting notified. Otherwise, if I upload anything suddenly, right, unplanned, so I also inform in the WhatsApp group. So both the ways it's fine. Okay, now if you go into the classwork, let me very quickly check how many people. 14. Still there are a lot of people who have to join. So okay, take your time, but make sure that today everyone joins here. Okay, because from tomorrow I will also cross check like how many people are there in the group and how many people are there in the Zoom class. Not able to join, it is showing only previous videos. I do not understand, Dheeraj, what you are saying.
I'm there in the Google Classroom,
Hmm?
but now if I logged in into Classroom, it is showing only in stream classwork and people. I went into classwork, but it is showing only video lectures day one, day two. So how
What
can I
else?
join
What
the
else
current
it will?
class?
Okay, you are already in current class, right? You are already joined, right? You can see my screen, right?
Uh,
You can see
No.
my screen, right?
Yes.
I'm sharing my screen,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
right? So the
Yes.
classes will be on Zoom meeting only.
Okay.
Yeah, the Google Classroom is only to
Fine.
share video lectures and files which we will be learning. No class is
Oh,
happening in Google
sorry,
Classroom.
sir. Okay, sir. Okay. Is it showing my name,
I
the
not
connected
sure.
people?
I'm not means if you're able to see this
Dirshinde?
classwork, right? Then that's fine. That's
Yes.
fine. Yeah. So
Okay.
everyone who has joined, right? What will happen? Uh, like we have a topic here, video lectures. Similar kind of topic will come. Okay. For other like class files also will come like this. From today we will start having files also, right? So after the class I will upload that also here. Now in video lectures there are two things you have to notice. Yeah, Shubham. Yeah, you can join after the class also. That's fine. I'm saying that today everyone have to join. You have complete 2 days time. Tomorrow I will be checking again if everyone has joined or not. But today you have complete time to join, right? So what I will suggest also is like when I'm telling you something on the class duration, I assume that most of the people will be doing that after the class, right? Because right now you will be concentrating on the lecture, right? So that's completely fine. So in video lectures, when you click on day one, it will be telling you that what are the discussions happened on that day and the video for that day. Okay. When you go to day two, again, it will be telling you all the topics which we have discussed on that day two and then the video of day two. What is the benefit of discussing writing these topics here? For example, after a month or after 2 months, you want to revisit any particular topic, right? So you don't have to go to every video and find where that topic has been discussed. You can simply click on that day. You can see if that topic is mentioned here in the tile, right? If it is there, then you can play that video and check it. Okay. Now, sometimes what happens when I upload this video, it normally take after uploading the video so you get a notification that a video has been uploaded. After that it takes 30 to 40 minutes from Google server to convert that into a mp4 file. Okay, so right now if you see, you can see a thumbnail here. This thumbnail is showing that the content of video itself is it's showing here, right? If you are able to see the thumbnail, means your video is ready to view. So it means once I upload the video, after that also it will take 40 minutes. So you get a notification, you go online and you try to play the video, it will say the video is not ready to play. Okay. And then normally what happens, people come to WhatsApp group and they say that video is corrupted, video is not able to play and all, right? Then I have to explain multiple times that no, you have to wait for 40 minutes, then only it will play. So that is I am telling you in advance. Until you see the thumbnail here, the video will not play, right? And we are taking like 20 to 25 batches in a month, and we never see a problem where this will not get converted. But yes, it takes approximately 40 minutes to happen. So after uploading, give it 40 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's all. So all the videos will be coming here. You will be able to play it. You will be able to buffer it, right? Just click on this video, and this will give you the option to play it. Okay. Now I will suggest to view this video on full screen mode. Okay, you will get an option here. So other things are like you can explore by your own. Yeah, just make sure you are able to access all these things. You have 2 days time, tomorrow or day after tomorrow also. Let me know if anyone is not able to access these files or not able to play the video. Okay, so you can play with it. You can try other things on it after the class. Now, there will be assignments also which will be coming in this space itself. Okay, fine. Now there is other option, stream option is there. Okay, I'm getting some chat. Yeah, this is the class code I'm displaying on my screen. It is already shared in the WhatsApp group also. Okay, fine. Now in stream also we will be using for our day-to-day activities. What will happen while practicing? If you get any doubt, okay, and you will think that I will ask this doubt in our next class, but 99% chances are there that you will forget that what you wanted to ask in the next class. Better thing is, whatever doubt you get, just come here, click on this stream section, and you get an option to announce something to your complete class. Write your doubt here, post it. Similarly, like I will be sharing the uh, meeting link here, as I have shared already in the WhatsApp group. So you will be facing problem in the WhatsApp group, right? Every day I have to go to the top of the chat and find this meeting ID and all. I'll post it here. So similarly, you also get a chance to post anything you want. Okay. So all the doubts which you get, you can post it here or in the WhatsApp group. Any place is fine, so that you do not forget that what you wanted to ask. Okay. Now, I will take one more minute with classroom and then we will start with our studies. So this Zoom meeting keep changing actually, right? So I have scheduled this for 15 to 20 days, but sometimes it get corrupted. Sometimes it is stop working properly. So I create another new Zoom meeting. Okay. So make sure whenever you join the meeting, you join through the Google Classroom link. What happens sometimes I do not inform that I have changed the meeting link, but this classroom will keep updated. I will edit this post and I will change the link here. So always join your Zoom meeting by using the link from Google Classroom, so that even if something is changed, you will be using the changed one. Okay. Yeah. So that's all about Google Classroom. I'll give you 1 minute of time if you want to ask me something. And there are multiple people with setup issues, right? Do not worry. After today's class, means at 9:30, once I close the session, I will be taking all the questions and I will be answering that. Okay, so no doubts here. Fine, I see most of the people have already joined. But make sure that whatever name you have registered with admin at the time of admission, right? The same name is visible here. You have joined with the same ID. Okay, because what happens if we find some name which is not registered with us, we will simply remove those people from here. So make sure that whatever name you have used to register, same name is visible here. And if you are using your friend's ID, if you are using your uh, spouse ID or your parents ID, anything like that, just inform us so that we do not remove that. Okay, fine. So let's go and start with our learning. Okay, so you will be able to see my Python shell, or ideally,
Yeah, yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So now the complete learning. Yeah, Shweta, you're saying not log in into Google Classroom. Uh, Sorry, I do not understand. You're not able to log in into Google Classroom? What is the problem? Do you want, Shweta, do you want me to show the steps again? Code error. Okay, I'll show you the steps again. It cannot be the code error because there are other 19 people who have already joined, right? So definitely it's not the code error. Okay, so when you come, you have logged in with your, I am assuming that you have already logged in with your Gmail ID. And when you come to Classroom, how you come to Classroom from this section, right? You come to Classroom and then it give you an option, a plus button here, and it asks you for a join a class. It asks you for a class code here, right? Now, this is the class code. AB3DGYL. It is also shared in the sorry, in the WhatsApp group. So everyone else is also using the same code to join the class. Okay, try with this. It will work. And if it is not working, do not invest much time into it. Concentrate on the learning right now. After the class, you can try it once again. Okay. We have 2 days time to do it, so that's fine. Okay. So yeah, so next few days we will be playing with the Python shell itself. Okay, and let me tell you a few basic things about Python shell, which I will be using very frequently. Right. So first of all, let's start with our first line of code. Always it is in any language you go to learn something. Right. It is a hello world program which we write. So we are simply printing hello world in the console, or because it is a Python shell, it is a active communicator, I will say, right? Whatever you write the code, it will give you the reply automatically there instantly. You don't have to run the code explicitly by running some command or something like that. You write a line of code, and whatever response the interpreter will give, right? Whatever response will be coming from the interpreter, that will come directly here itself. Okay, and that is why we are using Python shell for our initial days. Why? Because right now we don't want to concentrate on how we run the program. We don't want to concentrate on how to set up the program and other things. What we want to learn right now is the basics of Python, or basics of any programming language, right? That is the deal here right now. So because of that, we will not be using anything else. We will be using the shell prompt. Okay, now this is how it worked. So hello, we have used the print function. This is a print function. Okay, inside that there are multiple ways of writing the string. I will tell you how other things also work, but this is how we use the print function. Now there is a very important interview question people ask: what is the difference between Python 2 and Python 3? Right? Because Python now is very famous in the market, but it is not like it is getting used only now. From last 15 years, Python is getting used, right? So earlier there are a lot of projects which has been already implemented in Python 2. Now companies are also hiring engineer to um, convert their code which is already written in Python 2 to Python 3, right? The migration engineers or something like that. People are also getting hired for that. So I will not theoretically teach you what is the difference between Python 2 and Python 3. Whenever it comes, whenever I see that, okay, this is something different in Python 3, that moment I will tell you that, see, it is different in Python 2 and Python 3. Right now, in case of print function, it was a print statement earlier. In Python 2, if you write the same code, right, it will be something like this. Okay. In Python 2, print is not a function. In Python 2, print is a statement. In Python 3, it is a function. So now if I try to run this, it will not work. What it is saying, syntax error, missing parenthesis in call of print. In call of print means a function is only get called, right? So it is a function which is you are trying to call and you are missing the parenthesis, the small brackets. So this is the first difference you have to note about Python 2 and Python 3. Python 2, most of the day-to-day functionality which we use were statements, right? This was a statement and this was the uh, argument which is passed to that statement. But in Python 3, it is a function. Okay, now just a second. Yeah, and do not take any note of this file. Okay, this file I have an option to save this file. Okay, as a .text file. So I will be saving this file as a .txt file, and as it is, it will be uploaded in the Google Classroom, and you will be able to download this file also. Okay, so videos are something which you will be only buffering in the classroom. You will not be able to download the videos. Okay, but the files which I will be sharing, you will be able to download it. So do not take a note of it. Do not write anything. Right, everything will be shared. Now, when we talk about difference between Python 2 and Python 3, there are multiple differences, right, which we will gradually learn. Like example, this print functionality. Now, what actually changed in Python 3, right? Now, people ask me that what actually changed in Python 3. So the way interpreter was designed, that itself is changed. Okay. No, Manisha. Manisha is asking, hi, how do I open Python prompt through command? No. You have to type IDLE, like this, IDLE in your start menu, right? And then it will open it. So this is ideally which you are looking at right now. Okay. Okay, Shweta. Okay, Manisha. Fine. So yeah, the difference between what actually changed in Python 3, right? So the interpreter design itself has been changed. Interpreter has been changed means now when you write print function, right? Who is reading it? Who is understanding that what need to be done when someone is calling the print function? Interpreter is understanding that, right? So it means interpreter has been changed. So now you have to write code as per the new interpreter. So the major change has been done in the interpreter, okay, in Python 3. And why someone will do that? Means if something is running perfectly fine, if Python 2 was fine, then why someone will completely change the interpreter itself, right? Definitely, it has been done for if someone has put their efforts to change the interpreter itself, it has been done for performance improvement, right, and memory management. So these two things has been taken care in Python 3. These two things were there a little bit lagging in Python 2, the performance improvement and memory management. These two things has been taken care in Python 3. Okay. So these are some theoretical difference between Python 2 and Python 3, and gradually programmatical difference also we will see whenever we reach that topic. Okay. Now the first thing we will be talking today is Python identifiers. But before that, if you see, I have already used this hash to comment and other things like that, right? So comments. Let's talk about comments first. So in any programming language, when you write a code, right? When you write a code, you want to write some comments also, right? Now these comments are for which people? These comments are for your fellow developers, not for your customer or not for the person who is using your application. It is for your fellow developers. So if I write a line of code and above that line of code I want to write something like do not change this line, otherwise this will break some flow or something like that, right? Or if you're changing this code, please let this person know, and his email will be mentioned there, right? Such kind of comment for your fellow developers, where you will write that, you will write it within the code, right? But do you want interpreter to execute it? No, right? Interpreter will not execute it because that is a normal English comment you have written for yourself or your fellow developers. So if you want to write such kind of comments in your code, right, you have to use a hash symbol, hash space, and whatever comment you want to write, right? So for example, this is a new comment. When I enter, nothing is happening because it's a comment. Interpreter is not executing it. On the other hand, if I write 2 and enter, interpreter is telling me 2. It is getting executed actually, right? If I say 2 plus 3, it is giving me 5. It is actually getting executed. But if I write hash 2 plus 3, nothing is happening because it is a comment. So by using hash, you can write a single line comment. Okay. Now, if you want to write multiple line comment, then what you will use? There are two options, two ways of doing it. These are three single inverted comma, enter. Okay, right, like this is line one, this line two, and again close it also with three times single inverted comma. So see, this is line one, this is line two. Definitely it is printing it here, right? Because it is a string which is getting formed. I will explain you that how it is different from a single line comment when we learn a string, okay? But remember, in a program, if you want to write single line, multiple line comment, this is the one way of writing it. Three times single inverted comma, then the line of comments which you want to write, and then again three times single inverted comma. Similarly, you can use double inverted comma also three times. Double inverted comma three times. Line one, line two. Okay, and then again to close this three times, sing a double inverted comma. So that this is multiple line comments. Okay, now the first topic which we will be starting is Python identifiers. Okay, now what is first of all identifiers? Now, if you remember in our mathematics days, in our school days, we used to write, right? X is equal to 5 or x plus y. Some x value, y value we used to write. So what happens normally if you say x is equal to 5? What is happening? 5 as a number is getting assigned to x, right? So x is what? X is a variable, right? And then if I say x is equal to 5, right now x will be having value 5, but I can change it also in future. I can say x is equal to 10, then value of x will be 10, right? So x is what? A variable. Now to store any kind of value, like a numerical value, a string value, or a complex number value, a boolean value, any kind of value when you want to store into a variable, right? And when you store it into a variable, you give it a name. For example, I say age is equal to 18, right? I say that weight is equal to 50. So what is happening? I am creating a variable age and giving a value 18 to it. I am creating weight and giving 50 as a value to it, right? So these are the variables I am creating. But if you see, x was not having any meaning. It was not having any sense, right? So when you give a name to such variables, right, name is given or variable is given, that we say identifier, because it is identifying something, right? So these are the identifiers: age, weight, or any kind of variable which you say, like salary 5,000. So salary become 5,000, right? So these are what? Identifiers or variables which you use to store values. Is there someone on mute? So I have muted everyone once again. If someone has unmuted to ask any doubt, please go ahead and ask it. But there was some background noise, so I unmuted. Sorry. Huh? Mm. Manisha is asking a question. So, Manisha, first of all, I will suggest you, when you ask this question, you should post it to everyone so that everyone will be informed that some question has been asked. So, I will read it for everyone right now. Manisha is asking, can I have dynamic variable whose value can change for next execution? Yes, Manisha. Uh, we can have such dynamic variables whose value will keep changing for every execution, right? And gradually, when we proceed with other learnings, other kind of learnings, right, you will see that, yeah, such kind of variables are coming into picture. So that is part of our learning, and it is possible. Yeah, thank you. So these are identifiers. Now there are rule, right? Now identifier will be used for what? Okay, so let me give you a theoretical definition also for identifier. Okay, let me write multiple line comment. So a Python identifier is a name used to identify a variable, not only variable. Interestingly, the everything, whatever we give a name, like function, class, uh, what else? Module, object, right? And many other things. Whenever you give a name to something, right, that will be an identifier. But there is a rule. It can start with alphabets. It can start with underscore, right? But it cannot start with number. Okay, I'll show you some examples also. Okay, it cannot start with numbers. So, and it is case sensitive. How it is case sensitive, I will tell you that also. And there are some built-in and user-created identifiers. There are some identifiers which is already used by Python developers to develop this programming language, and there are some identifiers like we have created above: x, age, weight, salary. This is, excuse me, this is user-defined variables or identifiers. Okay, so the next time when I say a variable or a identifier, right, do not get confused. Do not ask again like what is a identifier, what is a variable. This is what is I'm explaining about it right now. Now the rule says it should start with alpha, which we have already seen that x is equal to 5. It's a variable. X is a variable. It got a value 5, or x is an identifier. A name is equal to a name. Right now we will not use because it will use a string. Age, for example, is 10, right? So age is a identifier. It can start with alpha. It can start with underscore also. Like underscore age is equal to 15. So now if you see underscore age, its value is 15. The normal age is having value 10. Okay. So it can start with underscore. It can end with underscore also. For example, underscore age underscore is equal to 20. Now if you see, if you print this variable, these three are different variables. A normal age, underscore age, underscore age underscore. Okay. So these three are different variables or different identifiers. It can start with underscore, it can start with alphabet. It cannot start with a number. So how to prove that? Let's say 9 age is equal to 25. So what is happening? I am saying that there is a variable with name 9 age, right? So it is starting with a number. If you try to do that, it is telling you it is a invalid syntax. Even Python will not allow you to do that. Okay, so this is the rule. It says that it cannot start with a number. It can end with a number. If I say age 9 is equal to 25, right? So age 9 became 25. Okay, so this is the rule of identifiers and how we create identifiers. I'll give you 1 minute of time if you want to ask anything on it. Okay, before giving the time, let me ask you, tell you one more thing. Internal identifiers. Normally, means internal identifier. This is a term which I am using. Okay, this is some name I have given myself. It is not a technical term. Okay, internal identifiers means when you use the code, Python code itself will have some identifiers, right? Internal identifiers. They made sure, the developers of Python made sure that all those internal identifiers will have double underscore in the starting and then the identifier name and double underscore at the end. For example, if I create it will allow me to create. I'm not saying it will not allow me to create, but this kind of identifiers, when you see in your life while working with Python, that it is starting with double underscore and then the name of the identifier and ending with double underscore again, those are internal identifiers. Even if a programmer is using such way of writing, he might have written that inside a class or inside his program which he don't want you to use. Python do not stop you in using that, but logically you should have a sense of that they are not allowing you to use it. Okay, so double underscore in the starting and double underscore at the end has some meaning. Otherwise, also you can play with it. Underscore underscore x underscore underscore is value 100. No one will stop you in doing that, but logically it does not make sense. It has a meaning in that, right? So when we will learn classes, when we will learn inheritance, when we will learn constructor, destructor in classes, right, in our object-oriented programming, at that time you will see that we are writing such functions which are starting with double underscore and ending with also double underscore. Okay, those are internal identifiers, not to use in your outside programming. Okay, now you take 1 minute of time and let me know if you have any doubt with whatever we have discussed till now.
Uh, hey, hi. I have one question.
Mhm.
Means in C language there is printf and scanf, right? So in that some header files like stdio. So in that header file, printf and scanf is inbuilt function. So
Mhm.
here also this print statement is inbuilt function or what?
Yeah, print is inbuilt.
But here is any header file or
No, no, it's a see. What happens is like whenever you load a session of Python, like if you see, we have loaded a shell prompt here, right? So there are some functionality that is a function. It is not a header or something like that. So it is a normal function, but what happens whenever you open a shell prompt or a Python prompt, right? It loaded some of the functions which is internally defined already, so that you can directly use it.
Oh, okay, okay,
So it's a normal function preloaded by the shell prompt.
okay.
Yeah.
But okay. So means how much these preloaded functions do you have any idea? Yeah,
Okay, so you want to say the list of preloaded. So I do not have handy. I do not have the list of preloaded functions, right? Whenever you open a prompt, so how many functions will be
yeah.
loaded? That we can search in python.org website. There is a documentation on that. Okay. So if you
Okay.
see python.org website, right? There is a documentation section. You can get the list of preloaded function there.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. So Anukriti is before Anukriti, Sneha is saying that you're not able to hear my voice. Is it with other people also, or for other people it is good?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so Sneha, I'll say maybe some problem with your connectivity or device. I can hear you. Okay, great, great. Yeah. So Anukriti is saying internal identifiers comes under local or global variable. It should not be used outside any function. Okay. Um, See, Anukriti, now global and local variables, no, it is not associated with that. When I say internal identifiers, I mean, I told you, right, this name internal identifier is not a technical name. It is something which I am calling it as internal identifier. So first of all, if you go for any interview or other people also, right, do not use this term. This is a term which is created by me, or maybe everyone is not familiar with this term, right? When I say internal identifier, I mean in a class. For example, I want to keep some attribute which I will be using only in that class for my development. Then I will be writing it underscore underscore, right? If I want, for example, in my class I am creating a variable x which I don't want other people to use, but I cannot stop it, right? Because there is no scope identifier here. So I will like write it underscore underscore x underscore underscore, so that the other developer will get a sense that okay, Manpreet has created it with underscores. It means he is using it internally for some activity, so I should not disturb it. On the same time, in the same class, I create something like y is equal to 5 without any underscores. Right? The other developer will get a sense, okay, this is open to use. So this is just a logical sense of saying that okay, this is something which is getting used internally for some functionality. You should not touch it in this case. So it is just understanding between the developers. Yes, yeah. The program is not the Python language as such language. Yeah, there are some predefined identifiers which is known to Python language, like underscore underscore doc, underscore underscore init, underscore underscore name, right? So all these things we will learn in our future classes. Those are definitely some predefined. I told you, right? There are two kind of identifiers: user-defined identifiers and uh, built-in identifiers. So built-in identifiers are not for developers also. It is for the language itself. You cannot change its meaning. So yeah, let me write it down also. So just give me a second.
The functions of the and the normal identifier are same in the program or different?
Just one second. I missed your question. I'll come back to that. Built-in identifiers and user-defined identifiers. Okay, so built-in identifiers are something like underscore underscore name underscore 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 doc underscore 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 underscore. Let's not keep the list long. And user-defined identifier can be anything, right? So name, doc, all those things is part of our course. We'll learn it in future. But I'm just giving you an example. Built-in identifiers where program itself understand कि हाँ name का क्या meaning है, doc का क्या meaning है. The program itself understand that. So those are built-in identifiers. Okay, now user defined identifiers, which I am saying that internal identifiers, right? There you can say, okay, that is only for programmers to understand. So these are the two ways to differentiate. Yeah, now go ahead with the other question.
Sir, I asked like internal identifiers and normal identifiers have different function in the program, or
No, no,
they
no,
do
no,
have
no,
the
no.
same function?
Functionality, see, that is what I was saying. Programmatically, the functionality is exactly 101% same. Logically,
Okay.
I'm saying logically, when you see, if I give you two variables, for example, right? I give you x and I give you underscore underscore x, then
Yeah.
you should understand the difference, right? Okay, if he's giving me x with double underscore, it means somewhere it is getting used internally, right? Logically we are
Okay.
creating that sense in the community, okay, that जब मैं underscore underscore के साथ कुछ चीजें लिख रहा हूँ तो वो internally use हो रही है, उसको आप disturb मत करो, right?
Means it is used for another person using the same program.
Yes,
Okay.
because all these things will not be anyhow visible to our users. This all things will be only usable to our fellow developers, right? Whatever code we are discussing right now. Yeah. So Priya Jadhav is asking what is the maximum length of an identifier. Maximum length of an identifier, when you give a name to it, right? There is no limit. There is no such limit. I'll tell you. When we start with string functionality, right? We talk about PEP standards. So there are standards. So in my complete teaching, right, I will be telling you two things. One is suggestion, second is rule. So suggestion is something which is you can follow, you cannot follow. Rule is something you have to follow, otherwise interpreter will not run your program, right? So there is always a suggestion to keep the identifier name as short as possible, as meaningful as possible, but there is no rule which says that it should be of this length only, right? So there are PEP standards which you can find in python.org website. I When we start with the string variables, I tell people like how to find that PEP standard. Okay, so do not worry about that. I will be helping you in that also. So there the standard says like what is the length of the variable should be, or what is the meaningful variable name should be, right? Those standards are mentioned there. So it follows those standard, but programmatically there is no such limit. If I want to specify the length to the identifier, how can I give the length to that? Okay, so you guys are going beyond the scope. I'll tell you, do not think too much with the identifier itself, right? There's a lot of things to do with the complete Python programming. So whatever you are asking is something in a normal day-to-day activity, no one will do that. Okay, so it is good for experiment. Is like if I want to specify the length of the identifier, how can I give the length to identifier? Means you want to restrict the length of name of that identifier, you're saying. No, I do not see a business use case. I do not see a use case for this. Why someone will do that, right? Because identifier is not what is, uh, you are not controlling identifier, right? You are not controlling the length of identifier. Python interpreter is doing that, right? So, but okay, let me take a note of it because I have to come up with a program to answer that to you. So I'm just, you're not able to see my screen, but I'm creating a text file, which I normally create in every batch, the doubt file. And I'm writing, just give me a second, guys. There's some problem with the recording. It somehow started going to the cloud. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, Manisha, to answer your question, you're saying that so you cannot control identifier. See, gradually you will see multiple use of identifier. Okay. Now, when you say you will not be able to control identifier or something, see the rules which is there, that how identifiers will work and all. It is all defined in the interpreter itself. Interpreter knows like which identifier is allowed, which is not allowed, right? So to answer your question majorly, yes, you will not be able to control it, right? What are the rules defined is defined in the interpreter. You cannot change those rules. But if you want to create your own rule of identifier, that will also work on a single session, right? How to keep it for multiple sessions, that is, there's no business case for that. But I have noted that two questions, like how to change the length and all. Let's see how does that go. Okay. Yeah. So we will keep identifier till here only. So these are identifiers, these are variables, how it works in Python. Now we will talk about the standard data types, what is supported in Python. Okay. So all the theory also, right? I will be writing in this shell itself. Whatever theory, explanation, everything will be going in the shell itself, and this complete shell will be shared with you. Okay, so I'm not taking another presentation or slide, something like to teach you anything. Everything will be in the code and comments only. Okay, so standard data types in Python, those are like numbers and string, then list, tuple, dictionary, and set. So these are the standard data types in Python. Um, Data types, whenever we talk about data types, we say the standard data types, and also this is not the way it has been called inside, right? Means there is different way of calling this data types. That is what we say as uh, built-in data types, where we actually see that how this data types has been called, right? So the first category in the built-in data types is text type. Text type, we have a string, so that is str. Okay, text type we have a string, that is str. Then we have numeric types, and that is integer, float, and complex. Now people who are very new to programming world, what is integer? The non-decimal numbers, -1, -2, 0, 1, 2, 100, all those numbers which are non-decimal, those will fall under integer. Float, float is the data type where you keep the decimal values, right? For example, 1.5, 2.5. This value is not an integer value, it's a decimal value, right? So that will go into float. Complex is something which is very rarely used in programming world, in software industry. If you are working with any research group or chemical companies, right, then complex numbers will be used, and that is something like iota numbers, right? 2 plus 3i, 2 plus 3j. If you remember, we have learned in mathematics, right? So we will see that, we'll see that how it works here in Python, but we'll not concentrate much on that. So integer, float, and complex. Then there is a type, sequence type. Sequence type, for this we have list, tuple, and range. Sequence type means if I want to store from 1 to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that number till 10. Or if I want to store 1 to 100, number 1 to 100. If I want to store all the names of all the student names of this batch, for example, 26 people are there, so 26 people's name in sequence. So that is what sequence type. So if you see this, right, this on the left side is the real world scenario. Text type, numeric type, sequence type. On the right side, after the semicolon, That is programming world data type. Okay. So after that, it will come as mapping type. Mapping type is dictionary. So what is mapping type? Where you have key and value pairs. Mapping type, a key and value pairs is like, for example, there is a student. Now, if I want to store the student details, so name will be Rahul, age will be 30, location will be Pune. So what is happening? If you see, there is a key and there is a value associated with it. What is the key? Name. Name is the key. What is the value? Rahul. So it is a key value pair. If I say age is a key, what is the value? 18 is the value. So key value pair. So such kind of data when you want to store in a form of key value pair or mapping type, right? That is falling under dictionary. Now the people who have worked with C or C++, there was a dictionary in not only in C, C++, even in Java 1, there was before 1.5 also, there was a dictionary. That dictionary is different. The people with C++ and Java knowledge, we worked with map, hash map, right? So this is a map actually. So mapping type, we have dictionary here for such requirements. We do not have any map here. So do not get confused. In other languages, dictionary has other meanings, but in Python, it is a map actually. Okay. Now after that, it comes set types. Set types, we have set, frozen set. No, in dictionary also we have something like I'm not getting that name right now. There's one thing more in case of dictionary, sorted dictionary. Yeah, but that we will not be considering in mapping type. That is something subset of that actually. Just give me a second. I will be on mute. Yeah, sorry guys. So set types. What is set used in real world? Set is something where you cannot keep duplicates, right? uh, Set is something where you can apply the set operations in mathematics. Set operation is something like वो यूनियन डायग्राम्स बनाते थे ना हम लोग कि ए और बी का कॉमन जंक्शन कौन सा होगा, ए और बी का अनकॉमन जंक्शन कौन सा होगा. So such kind of set operations which we do in real world, it is programmatically also possible. For that we have a data type which is known as set. Okay. Or frozen set also is there. Now we have boolean type also. In real world and in programmatical world, boolean values has very similar kind of activity. Boolean can be a true value or it can be a false value. That's all, right? Then we have binary types, bytes, byte array, memory view. This is something we will be looking very less in our learning. The binary types will be like bytes. We will be looking at once when we work with encoding or decoding, right? But byte array and memory view is something you should know that this kind of data type is possible in Python, but it is not part of our major learning. Okay. So this is a theoretical understanding like what are the standard data types we support and what are the built-in data types and its mapping with the real world. Okay. Now I will wait here for 1 minute for you to digest all this information. Okay. And if you have any doubt, and then I will continue with our learning. Yeah, Shubham. So each and every data type, whatever we have discussed right now, if I tell integer, if I tell string, list, tuple, at least we will be giving one complete session to understand each one of them. So don't worry of that. So if I talk about numbers, a string, list, tuple, dictionary, set. So there are six major data types, right? So we will be giving 6 days to understand these data types. So don't worry about that. You will be understanding what is tuple and other things. ओके, सो बहुत कुछ थियोरिटिकल हो गया, राइट? सो एक थोड़ा सा बीच में ब्रेक लेते हैं एंड लेट मी शो यू समथिंग एल्स.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is the difference between standard and built-in data types?
No, I do not. Sorry, your voice was breaking in between. Can you please come again?
Yeah. What is the difference between standard and built-in data types? Means
There's no,
any.
there is no difference. There's no difference. Standard data type means though that is actually um, both are same. There's no difference. I have written it in different ways. The built-in when I have written, see, what happens? We say string. Now string, numbers, list, set. It is available in all the programming languages, right? It is not only Python which support this data types. So what happens when I say standard data types? That is the names to call this data type in a computer science language. When I say a string is a computer science term. But when I want to create a string in Python, then what is the built-in functionality to use do it, right? str is the
Oh,
built.
okay, yeah. Hmm.
So that is why I have written it in two different ways, but it has the same meaning. No difference in there.
Got it. Thank you.
So now you will be able to see a PDF, which name is Python 3, the hard way, right? Now, a way of learning, um, I'll say not only for Python, for any other uh, languages and tools also. Like recently I was learning with Dockers and Kubernetes, right? So in that also, when you go for learning, there's two ways of learning. One is the simple way. The simple way is there is a video recorded, you listen to it, okay? And the second way of learning is the hard way. The hard way is means whatever is written in the book you have to write of your own. Simply you have to practice everything by your own. What happens, it looks very simple, and you get an opportunity to copy and paste also. But the concept of learning something in a hard way says you use the keyboard, you write even if a single line is there, right? You write it. Why? Because by doing it gradually, you will see that you are learning it, right? So Python 3, the hard way. That is the theory behind it actually. So this book I will be uploading it in the Google Classroom. So do not worry about that. Uh, this will be coming as it is to you. Now, it also has some setup steps, right? And it also has some theoretical topics in it. I am not very interested in all those things. What I am interested is in exercise, right? So I'll click directly on the first. Still, it is telling me all the. Yep. So here, if you see, you have to follow this tag. Okay, this tag you have to follow. Exercise 1, exercise 2, exercise 3. There are almost 50 plus exercises in this. Okay, so what will happen? Definitely, I will be teaching everything, whatever it has, right? So when I give you this book, definitely, uh, we will be learning all these things gradually in a duration of 1.5 month, right? And but you are getting this book in advance. So if someone will come to me and ask कि sir वो 20th exercise का doubt है, I will not be answering that until we reach there. Okay, so if you want to go ahead of the class, definitely you can go. But all those doubts will be only getting answered when we reach that point, right? So ये बुक एडवांस में मिल जाएगा इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि आप आगे आगे भागते जा रहे हो, right? It will be harmful for you. Go with the pace in which we are going. Okay, so exercise 1, if you see, it is very simple programs, right? Print uh, statements is getting used in this ways, right? But always each and every line in this book has some hidden uh, phenomena or hidden ways of teaching you. Okay, even if you see this 7 line of print, right, it is teaching me something. Every tips and tricks has been included in each line of code, right? So there are tips and tricks included here also, which I will be telling you when we work with string printing and all, right? So you keep on writing this and then you will discover कि हाँ ये ऐसा लिखने से कुछ अलग हो रहा है, right? You may be not able to notice it right now, but there are differences available in these 7 lines also, right? So ये exercise 1 हो गया, and then you can go to exercise 2, right? Do not skip all the theory which is written there. I'll simply say skip all this theory because you have already joined this class, and we will be discussing everything about it. So exercise 2, it is talking about comments and the pound characters, right? So we have already discussed about the comments. It is again giving you, so you have to write this 9 line of code, okay, and then you have to move on. Exercise 3, numbers and mathematics and their arithmetic operations. We will be also learning this, but you can see the programs here in the book also. So this book will be coming as it is to you. I will be definitely giving exercises from this book. Once we reach in a position where we start giving exercise, right? You will start getting exercises like, I will say, complete first to 10 exercise of the hard way book. That will be like an assignment for a weekend, right? And then Monday, I would like to see that everyone has completed the assignment and submitted in the Google Classroom. So you have to submit the file actually in the Google Classroom. So such kind of exercises you will keep on getting from this book. Okay. Okay. So that's all about this book. I will be sharing it in Google Classroom, or let me share it right away. You will also get a chance that how I'm uploading things in Classroom. So Python 3, the hard way. So there is a topic which I'm adding, self-paced materials, right? If you see, self-paced means I will not be disturbing you if you want to go ahead of us also, right? So self-paced materials means there are some links or videos I will keep adding on the self-paced materials, which you can refer anytime you want. You can learn it by your own also. There is no harm in that. But each and every topic in these materials will be getting discussed in the class also. Okay, if I add it here, you will not be able to download it. Okay, fine. Then also I will add it here. No problem. So see, I will be adding a Google Drive location also in this same classwork area. You will get it after the class. This file will be available in that Google Drive also. Normally, whatever I add directly in the classwork, you will not be able to download it. You will be able to view it only, right? So, but this book I want you to download definitely. So I will be adding this book in the day 3 section of the Google Drive. So Google Drive will be getting a day 3 link, right? So there this book also will be available. So if you want to go through it online, you can use this link, or you can download it from the drive also. Okay. Yeah. So that's all about the Google, sorry, Python the hard way. Let's come back to our learning now. Okay, so let's start with numbers. Hmm? When we start with numbers, the first thing comes into picture is, for example, x is equal to 10, It's a normal integer, right? If you check type of x, now type is a function in Python which tell you that this x belong to which class. Now, when I say that x belongs to a class, now this is a question to all of you. You can answer it, okay? If x belong to a class integer, then what is x?
Number.
Okay, but if x belong to a class integer, then what is x? If x is an instance of class integer, no, it's an object, right? That is what we have learned in our previous class. So now here, that is a trick question actually. X is not an object. 10 is a object. Okay. X is a variable. Still, X remains the variable. So let me clear that for you. When I say, just one second. Oh, my pen is, just one second. My pen is not connected to my laptop. Yeah. So when I say x is equal to 10, right? What is happening here? This is actually an integer object, right? 10 is an integer object. X is a variable which is referring to it. So type of x, it means this is belonging to which class? It is belonging to integer class. Why? Because it is keeping an object which is an integer object. So it will tell you that which class it belongs to. Now, I'm forcefully saying this thing multiple times to you because I want you to understand this, right? Because we'll not get this much time. Uh, जितना मैं अभी छोटी छोटी चीज़ों को बता रहा हूँ, right? These small things I will not be telling in future. So that's why I'm forcefully telling you that, okay, I'm giving you time to understand all this. Okay, fine. So now if I say that x is equal to 10.5, and then if I check type of x, it will be float, right? I told you that decimal values will be going to float. If I say x is equal to 3 plus, for example, 2j, right, and then we check type of x, it will be complex. So these are the numbers we have discussed. Numbers can be integer, float, and complex. Now when it comes to numbers, the first thing which we will be talking about is the operations, right? So operations, and in operations also, the first thing which we will be talking about is arithmetic operation. So what are the arithmetic operations possible here? Plus, minus, multiplication, division, percentile, to the power, and floor. Okay, I'm getting some chat in Zoom. Let me check what is that. Sneha is saying that can you please explain again what is X exactly? X is a identifier. X is a variable. That's all. It is storing. It is storing a value. That's all. Right? There is nothing else to be. Means do not get confused from object and other things. So let me explain that once again. Yeah. So when I say x is equal to 10, x is an identifier, x is a variable, right? It is storing the value 10. x is equal to 10.5. Now, earlier x was storing 10, now it is storing 10.5, right? And if I say x is equal to 3 plus 2j, it is storing this value. So it's a variable, it can keep anything, but it will keep the latest one, right? So let me, as this question is coming into picture, in other languages, how it gets stored in the memory and how it gets stored in the Python, it is little different. In Python, uh, right, when I talk about number 10 or integer 10, right, integer 10 when we are talking, so this is the object actually. This is the object where we have the value 10. So this is the value. And when we talk about the address, so this is the identity or address where it is stored. Definitely it will be somewhere in the memory, right? So this is the address. And then here we have the references. So 10 is a standalone. 10 has nothing to do with x, right? 10 is saying that I'm an integer 10. I have an address. I am store means I am using this memory. I am here. Now when I say x is equal to 10, 10 is not going anywhere, right? 10 is there itself. 10 is an object. It is staying there in that same address. X is coming here and referring to it. X is coming here and referring to it. So if there are like y, z, a, b, c, everyone is having value 10. What will happen? Y will also refer to this. Z will also refer to this. A will also refer to this. B will also refer to this. These are the references. Who and all these different variables who are using 10. And on the very next moment, I say that x is equal to 10.5, right? So what will happen? Right now, x was pointing to this location, but now it will not point to this location. X says now I am free. I am free from 10, but the other place he has to go is 10.5. 10.5 is also there in the memory somewhere, right? It has some identity or address. So x will start pointing to this now. So x is a variable. It can point to any of this. So not 10 is changing, not 10 and 10.5 is changing. Who is jumping from one place to another? X. This is variable, this is identifier. I hope I answered your question. So yes, it's just a variable. Yeah, that's correct, Sneha. Okay. So, but definitely, it's just a variable, but that is the main role player in our programming language, right? Without that, we will not be able to do anything. So we need that reference that is important for us. Okay, so we'll go ahead with arithmetic operations and clear them out. Okay, so this many arithmetic operations we have. Now I will explain you very quickly one by one. Definitely plus minus multiplication division is something we don't have to concentrate much about. People normally also know that. The other three, the last three is something we have to, sorry, excuse me guys. Yeah, the last three is something we have to concentrate on, right? But let's see everything one by one very quickly. So 10 plus 3, 13, 10 minus 3, 7, 10 multiplied by 3, 30, 10 divided by 3, 3.333 and other decimals value, right? So this 4 is something I don't have to explain you. You know already what it does. Now, the fourth one, 10 modulus, we call it modulus, okay? 10 modulus 3 or 10 percentile 3. Normally, if you call it modulus, that will be better. 10 modulus 3 will be giving you 1. What is that? It is important to understand, okay? It is giving you the reminder. 10 divided by 3, uh, 3 multiplied by 3 till 9 it can go, and after that 1 will be left out. So it is giving you a reminder actually, but programmatically programmatically this modulus has a lot of role to play. This is important. Okay, so 10 modulus 2 is 0 because it is completely divided by 2. Right now you will be thinking कि अरे इतना छोटा सा चीज को important क्यों बोल रहे हैं, but when we do programming in later on stages, right, you will see the importance of this, and then at that time I will not be very happy to explain you the modulus once again, right? But it will be getting used multiple places, so it always show you the reminder. Okay, now when we talk about power, so 10 to the power 2, when you are writing asterisk 2 times, if you write asterisk 1 time it is a multiplication, if you write it 2 times it is a power, so 10 to the power 2 is 100, right? So if you want to write 10 raised to the power 2, 10 raised to the power 3, or any other number raised to the power anything, double asterisk will help you there. Okay, so that is a power attribute. Now when I say 10 double division or floor functionality by 3, it will be giving me 3 only, right? So that is a difference here. 10 divided by 3, if you see 10 divided by 3, it is giving you all the decimal values also. When you write 10 floor 3, it is giving you only the 3 and not the decimal values. So that is the difference between the single division and double division sign. Now here comes the Python 2 and Python 3 difference also. In Python 2, if you write 10 divided by 3, it will be giving you 3 only. Okay, by default, that division will be telling you the non-decimal value only. Okay, but in Python 3, when you do 10 divided by 3, it will be giving you the decimal values also. Okay, that is a difference you can note. Yeah, Piyush, explain the floor functionality once again. So, see, 10 divided by 3, what is the value if you see here? 10 divided by 3, it is 3.3333, right? That is the actually mathematical answer. But I do not want the decimal values. I only want the integer value out of it. So 10, floor 3, it is only 3. For example, um, 5 divided by 2. What is the answer? 2.5. So 5 floor 2. Answer is 2. It removes the decimal. It escapes the decimal values from the answer. Okay. Fine. So these are the arithmetic operations we have. But we will not leave it here like this very simply. Now we will use this arithmetic operations only to understand the different ways of writing in Python, writing the print statements in Python. Okay, there are multiple ways of writing. My favorite is I will take 2 more minutes. I know it is already 9:30. Two more minutes I will take, and then I will leave you. So now when I am writing, so this is actually print plus a string plus number. These three operations actually I am teaching you together: print plus string plus numbers. In this, string is not yet started for your class, right? So do not get confused. ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं string आपको पढ़ाने नहीं वाला हूँ. String जैसे आज numbers पढ़ रहे हैं, कल हम strings पढ़ेंगे, right? So strings जब पढ़ेंगे तो आपको और clarity मिलेगी. But for this moment, you have to assume that whatever string I am writing, you have to assume that. Okay. So I say print. Okay, this is a string. Simple. I say print, this is a string, it printed that for me. Okay, in the blue color, if you see below the line, it printed for me. If I say print, this is a number 100, it printed this is a number 100. Now if I say print, this is multiplication, 10 multiplied by 2. Now there is a problem. I say this is multiplication 10 multiplied by 2, but it has not done that multiplication for me, right? It has not done that multiplication for me because you have written everything inside a string. It's a normal text, right? In a text format, if you write 10 asterisk 2, it's 10 asterisk 2. There's no multiplication happening there, right? So you have to, multiplication will happen between numbers and numbers. It cannot happen between strings and numbers, right? So here it will be printing everything as it is. But if I want that this should be printed in a way that um, these are two things are getting multiplied, right? The first way of doing it is this print. This is multiplication, okay, and then comma 10 multiplied by 2. If you write this, see the answer. So this is the first way of doing it, okay. Now the second way of doing it, let me write second way print. This is my favorite way actually, okay. So there is a formatter. Before you start writing a string, write a f here, the string formatter, okay, and then you write this is multiplication, okay. And here inside your curly braces you can write any value you want. Let's 10 multiplied by, right. So what will happen, you do not have to use any comma, you do not have to use anything in this string. In this string you can use curly braces and write whatever you want to write inside that, that will get executed. Not only in this way, even if you have like a variable is equal to 20, right. I want to use this variable in my print statement. So print, I will say this is variable is equal to variable, right, variable's value, for example. But it will not print me the variable value. Variable has what value right now? 20. I want to print it, but it is not printing me because it is in a form of a string right now. It is not getting its value. It is just a text, right? So I want interpreter to understand that I want to use that variable, not the text. So I will simply add a formatter here. I'll say this is variable is equal to, start the curly braces and write whatever you want to execute inside that. What I want to execute, I want to execute this variable's value, right? And this is variable 20. This is the second way of doing it, okay. Now very quickly we'll see the third way, okay. And do not get confused, okay. um, the same way of writing this we will be discussing in the string also. Right now we are dealing with numbers, so I am printing everything in number. Sneha, that is a formatter. There are multiple formatters available for a string like f, r. So gradually you will see more formatters. So f is a formatter which is indicating to interpreter कि जब curly bracket आएगा, so in that curly bracket whatever is coming you have to execute it rather than considering that as a string. So that is a formatter f. That's simply indication. Yes. Multiple indicators are there, Sneha. So we will discuss more indicators in future. So जब string पढ़ना चालू करेंगे हम लोग, you will see I will explain this in more detail. But right now, because there are numbers you are dealing with, and that number you have to print somewhere, right? So that's why we are understanding this also. The third way of doing it is, for example, I say print. This is now the C++ or Java way of doing it. That is also possible here. I say percentile D, okay, multiplied by percentile D is equal to percentile D. Okay. Now I will explain that in a good way to you. Do not worry. Now I say this is a string done mapper, which is a percentile, which is known as mapper. Okay. And then I say here inside this 10 comma 3 comma 10 multiplied by 3. So if you see what is happening here, 10 multiplied by 3 is equal to 30. How this is happening? Now it is important for us to understand, right? Let me explain you it, right? Take the color. Yeah, just 2 more minutes. So when you created this string, you created a container here. This percentile D created a container for integer. Now here, if you see in previous examples, this curly braces were creating containers. You can keep anything inside it. Anything can go inside these containers. But here you are very specifically creating a container only for integer. again a container for an integer, again a container for an integer, and then that string ended there, right? And then this is a mapper. This is a mapper. That mapper says whatever value you pass in a bracket here, right? That will be copied here in this containers. So the 10 will go to the first container, 3 will go to the second container, 10 multiplied by 3, 30. The result answer 30 will go to the third container. And then the answer is the output string is 10 multiplied by 3 is equal to 30. So here, this is how it is happening. Okay. Works like a yeah, formatter specifier percentile d integer. That is true, Sneha. Manisha, works like a placeholder. Yes. The word container I am using, or placeholder, is a correct technical word for it actually. Yes, yes, true, Manisha. So other people who have worked with other languages, you already know that percentile d is for integer, percentile s is for string, percentile f is for float, right? So we have these placeholders or containers where you can keep all these values. Okay, so this is the way of writing. Do we use other specifiers? I do not understand that, Sneha. Yeah, Subham, I will explain the third way again. Yeah, sure. Sneha, do we use other specifiers, means this percentile d, s and f you're saying? Yeah, yes, Neha. Yeah, definitely. Because we are dealing with numbers right now, so I'm telling you only percentile D. The moment we start with a string and other things, you will see other specifiers also getting used. Yeah, true. Yeah. So last 1 minute, I will explain the third way again. And Shubham, do not worry. When we work with a string, and whenever I write such kind of code in future also, I'll be explaining that multiple times. So do not worry about that, right? So I see print statement says that you write a string, right? So my string is starting from here. From here to here, I have a string which I want to print, which I want to display on my console. So I say percentile d in empty container, some value will be coming there, multiplied by percentile d, some value will be coming there. So there is no operation happening. Okay, this is not multiplying anything. This is simply getting printed here. If you see, right, the multiplication is actually happening here, and then is equal to percentile d once again, right? So what happens when Python executes it? The interpreter says, okay, there are three empty containers. What are the values I have to put there? So you say, okay, percentile, which is a mapper, you cannot change it. It will be percentile only. Okay, you cannot write any other thing there. This is important. Then you write a parenthesis. Now there are three containers which you only have created, so you have to pass three values. What are those containers? Percentile d, and percentile d is for integer. So what you have to pass three values from here? Integers. So what will happen? This 10 will go to first because of position. First position, first number. Second position, second number. 10 multiplied by 3, third position, third number. Before replacing it here, it will get multiplied, so answer will be 30. That will go here. Okay, that is the end explanation. Do not get worried. This all get discussed multiple times. When we work with the strings also, it will get discussed. So do not worry much about it. Okay, and definitely this all will come familiar to you with practice. But my favorite is way 2. You will see me using this in all our learnings. I will not use any of this, the first way or the third way. The second way is the favorite one, is the simplest one. You simply write one F in the front of a string. It gives you opportunity to create a curly braces. Inside that, you don't have to tell Python anything. You just simply write whatever you want to write. It will print it. You don't have to use percentile D, S, F, anything. Just write whatever you want to write. So this is my favorite way, the second way, and I will be using it most of the time. But it is on you which way you want to use, the first, second, or the third way. Okay, so that is the end of today's session. Let me write it here. The same file, I will be saving it, and I will be sharing with all of you as it is. Okay. Yeah, so that's all, guys. That's all from my side. We will continue our learning tomorrow also, and that's all for today. Now, if you have any doubt, I'm available. If you do not have any doubt, thank you for joining. You can drop off, and
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, Sandeep, you have same problem with Zoom today. Um, is it the video? It is loading slow at your end, Sandeep. Okay. Priyanka is saying that you are using Ubuntu for yeah, Priyanka. Any platform works very similarly for Python, so it is completely okay if you're using Ubuntu. So let me stop recording, okay, and then Sandeep, I will talk to you. Yeah. So I got your question, Dheeraj, also. Just let me stop recording, and then I will answer all the setup related and other problems.